means it means something to somebody. So then you have to say, why does it mean something to somebody? And what's going on here, you know? And so, I mean, I don't like, maybe I shouldn't say this, I don't like plain old flat realist painting, you know, I think it's really boring. But if I go, you know, sometimes somebody does that so well that on the rare occasions when I do review that sort of thing, I really have to say, you know, I don't really, not my kind of thing, but it's really done well. So things like that.
Well, and I think that is the way to do it. If it's something that you generally don't like it, you know, that type of art, it would be like, well, you know, generally speaking, I don't like pizza. But in this case, you know, they really made pizza pretty darn good. Yeah, I think that's fair. And yeah, once in a while, the longer I live, the broader my interests become. It's I used to be much more strongly opinionated about, you know, what sorts of art I liked and what was appropriate and what wasn't. And the older I get, I really am starting to like everything. I mean, I've
noticed that.
Well, I think it really, yeah, that's a really good point, because the more you see over time, the more you realize if you're just really writing about your own feelings about a particular genre, you're not really writing for the public, you're writing about yourself. And that's always the big pitfall for any kind of critic, you know? So we have to watch out for that.
And I like minimalism just fine.
Was it 5 years ago?
Yes, Beacon did.
We remember that.
I remember that.
As I was saying earlier, what we're writing about is often so conceptual, and so much art is conceptual now. So much modern art is like offering a child an oyster. They're only going to spit it out. This whole modern art movement is an acquired taste, but the more we expose ourselves to it, we kind of develop this taste for it. The more we write about it, the more we are able to put it in a context, and we get kind of excited about it. It's a strange acquired taste, like 12-tone music. It would be atonal and jarring at first, but suddenly you begin to see something intellectually stimulating about it. You start to see relationships of other things you've seen, and you know, I think that's what happens with critical writing. You start to become excited about something that, you know, I mean, what's a buried metal cube? I mean, when we were kids, we just would not have been amused, but somehow it starts to mean something, or we're able to talk about it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, comment on that. When I was living in New York, I understood minimalism, like, completely, because everything there is so busy. And then somehow it's kind of like, wow, you know, here's a Frank Stella or something like that, or Donald Judd. And somehow it's become so iconic of something that is not this chaos all around you, that it becomes kind of a refuge almost. Moving back to New Orleans, minimalism did not make as much sense here as it did in New York. So I think you always have to look at the context, you know, and I think part of the understanding of things is being able to project yourself into different contexts. And that's where, you know, information, communication, books, magazines, travel's wonderful. For understanding where different kinds of art is coming from. So yeah.
Well, this is thrown out to everybody again. Do you believe print media will ever completely disappear? And if so, what will be lost? We've been debating this a lot, you know, as people's columns get cut down and such.
Well, I don't. I think that, I mean, I don't expect in my lifetime to ever see, you know, the end of print medium. But the other side of that coin is the electronic medium is a real opportunity. I love making tiny documentary videos about artists and about their work, because for the first time, I can really show you what they're doing. Not just a couple of photographs, but let's walk around the studio, hear what they say. Let's see 24 of the things they're working on, maybe a couple of things that are still on the easel, you know, that are still in process. And I think that's just terrific. I'm very excited about, you know, being able to do that. And you don't sacrifice. You don't sacrifice the newspaper to do it. You do the same story that you would have. You just now can add this layer of communication in another medium. I think it's a very positive moment we're in.
And open to all.
And
It's
open to
important,
all,
yeah.
yeah. Well, it's always,
Well, I mean,
pretty much always been open to all.
no, I mean, artists could never get them, put themselves in art form, but we can put ourselves on the internet.
Well, it's true, and you can enter conversation with the critic in the comments. It hasn't blossomed as I think it will, but you could actually have debate in the comments electronically. Now it tends to be a little leaden. It's just like, I don't like pizza. That tends to be. But once in a while, you get a very vivid response to something, a response that will cause me to pause and think again. I think that's great. I think that's terrific.
I like what you're saying about the video, and I've watched many of your videos, and I love that because you get to watch the artist at work. You get to see their paintings much more than in a still and a photograph, and to hear them speaking. But at the same time, there is a little bit of a dumbed down version of the critical aspect to that medium, and it's not to insult what you're doing, but there seems to be something different in the video context and the print context. And if we are critical writers and relying on the word and the amount of which we're able to get to printed versus the video context does seems to be a difference to me, at least the amount of information, because the video, it's usually a 2 or 3 minute clip, and it seems to have a entertainment versus a critical response, to my opinion. But what I would like to know as far as the electronic medium is how many, and I don't think we have that answers, but maybe you guys do, as far as how many people are clicking on them, who's reading them, and are they reading the whole article? I don't know how many people are responding to art criticism online, and we spent a year trying to get having these meetings and trying to create a website for critical writing, but I know personally I much prefer the hard print. I don't know if it's an age, but for critical writing, I find myself a little resistant to reading a great deal online, and I'm still excited by the written word. But you guys are dealing with that. I'd love to know what your readership has been.
I think the readership for online is based on the marketability of the website, and the people come to the website based on word of mouth. It it kind of becomes like I don't know, a cool neighborhood store that people know about. So the more people come to it, the more people know about it, and they link it to their friends. So it's definitely a different type of animal than a print magazine. It's not as expensive, but then it needs to make money for itself. And one of the things that we're considering for marketability is to link it to websites that are not all about art. They could be about, I don't know, politics. They could be about law reviews. It's just expanding the community and looking at visual artists who are not just in one, closed visual arts community, but who, I don't know, live in all kinds of different ways, have all kinds of different lifestyles. So it's possible, but it definitely is a challenge. And we have so many, ways of studying that. You may know that, Eric, also through analytics. You can look through Google and other types of resources to see how many hits you get to the website. But that's a large component of it. The website would be as dead as Find Art Nole is now if you don't promote it and market it and get people to come to it and give them a reason to come to it.
Well, you put your articles online. I mean, are you getting people responding to you online versus in print?
Yeah, I just don't know who these people are. I mean, I know some people, you can kind of look with the analytics and see, okay, these people writing, people who are like hitting on your site, the ones from New Orleans, you kind of figure, well, there's somebody in New Orleans who's interested in art. But the ones, from the Fiji Islands at 3 in the morning, you wonder what they're up to, And I get I think a lot of it's maybe just Google searches and stuff, but I don't know, several hundred people a day hit on the thing, and they're from all over the world, and I have no idea why or what they think they're doing.
Well, Google
weird.
Analytics will tell you how long they stay on the site and how many pages they get to, so that's useful.
Yeah, and then the guy in Stuttgart, Arkansas, who was online on the site for 7.5 hours, I really can't imagine.
Fell asleep.
I fell asleep.